Apex Legends Season 2 is basically what Season 1 should have been. If you aren't aware, Season 2 has made some pretty decent changes, with the addition of a new character, Wattson, a new gun, the L-Star, map changes, a ranked mode, daily and weekly challenges, and tons of balance changes, along with many cosmetic additions. However, even with all these changes and additions, it seems Apex is still not in the spot EA stockholders and even some players would like it to be. Despite the release of the new season, Apex was unable to reach the numbers on Twitch it did back in March when the game was hot off the presses. In this video we'll kinda take a look at why I think that. So far, my favorite thing of all the changes is easily the addition of the ranked mode. Being able to grind a ladder in games is one of my favorite things to do, and it keeps my attention way longer than just playing pubs or regular battle royale games like it was before in Apex. Basically, as you get higher on the ladder, the games cost more ranked points to enter, while you earn those ranked points for getting kills and getting good placements. I will say so far to me, this seems pretty balanced, although I'm not totally sure why the kill ranked points is capped at 5 per game. I do really like how now there is an incentive to place well, other than just winning, rather than before where people would just try and get a ton of kills. Apex Elite did sort of change that up though, but that only came out toward the end of Season 1, I think it was only lasted like a couple weeks. So one thing I probably would like to see was placement matches instead of just starting everyone in Bronze 4. This led to some pretty uneven matches on the first day, and has also led to a pretty substantial grind. Getting to Gold or maybe even Plat seems more of a measure how often you play rather than skill, since the entry fees are lower, so I'll be interested to see where I and many others end up. Obviously, as you can tell from the footage in the background, I am not that great at this game. So, just like in other games, at the end of the season, you'll get rewards based on the rank you achieve, which I think is a great touch. Along with adding in the ranked mode to add repayability, Respawn also added in daily and weekly challenges, which is a great touch. They range from things like landing in different points of the map, like let's say land at bunker X amount of times, or to get kills or knockdowns with different shotguns or play different types of characters, all sorts of things. And they not only help you level up your battle pass with experience rewards, they also make your games feel different as you try out different characters, land in different spots you normally land in, and try out new guns as you attempt to finish the challenges. These challenges are way better than the way they did in Season 1, where you just gained up to a set amount of bonus experience each week by playing different characters. The only change I would really like to see here is to be able to pull up your weeklies along with your dailies while in game, and also maybe add the ability to re-roll one challenge per day, but it really isn't a huge deal. One thing that I still find really lacking is the absence of at least a duo mode. I know when the game came out, Respawn put out statements along the lines of, they do not think the character balance would work well in a solo/duo environment, but it would be nice to have them even if some of the characters were a little better or worse in those modes. Or hell, even a 4-person squad mode would be pretty cool. Honestly, some of these would be cool to just try out in limited time modes, which besides Apex Elite, which wasn't even really a different mode, it was just players who got top 5 thrown into a different match, Respawn has done nothing to provide us with limited time modes. There's just so much potential for cool playlists you could try out for a week or two, and even if they end up broken, who cares because you just rotate them out. Things like solo/duos would be nice here, but they could even go further and try out limited time playlists with different setting combinations or enhanced drops for certain types of weapons. Like imagine a game where you found tons of the airdrop weapons, like you could find an L-Star super easily or the Mastiff and just everyone's running around with those. It might be kind of fun. There's just so many possibilities and we get to see none of them. There aren't even custom games to mess around it unless I'm just like really dumb and completely missing it. So anyways, let's move on as this rant could be a whole video on its own. So I won't really spend much time talking about cosmetics, as that isn't something that makes a huge difference to me. But Respawn seemed to put a lot more effort into these in Season 2. The skins themselves look much better with a focus on having more legendaries, along with the addition of skydive emotes, music packs, and loading screens that you can unlock as you level up your battle pass. Okay, now that we've talked about some of the additions to Season 2, let's talk more about the gameplay related changes, starting with the map changes. So don't get me wrong, I'm very glad they changed the map, and you can clearly tell parts of it are changed, but for some reason I cannot just shake the feeling that it's more of the same. Maybe the changes are just not drastic enough for me? I mean, I know it's awesome how the Leviathans have made their way onto the map, but for the most part they don't really do much, they kinda just stand there. Occasionally they lift their foot up briefly and you can run under them to try and get some loot, but if you're too slow they'll smash you. Along with being able to try and grab out loot from under the Leviathan's feet, there's also the flyers who carry around death boxes which you can retrieve by shooting them down. This is a pretty cool touch. I would say that besides the Leviathans making their way onto the map, the two main changes are the addition of the two areas called Containment and the Cage. But there are plenty other small changes with little buildings or destroyed areas from the Leviathans. Both the new areas are pretty cool, but I'm not gonna lie, I have had terrible luck dropping in Cage, so I usually just end up dying. However, I don't really know what to critique about the map changes because the part they did change are pretty cool. Maybe I would have just rather seen an all new map to play on rather than just changes to the existing one, because even though the new areas are cool like I mentioned, so much of the map just feels the exact same. Like, Skullstown's still the same, like Bunker's still the same, and like, you end up going to the same spots on maps a lot as you're comfortable with those areas or you're playing certain characters. So along with map changes, Season 2 also brings the addition of one new legendary weapon and one new character. But to me the biggest change in the gun department has been the balance changes to the other existing guns. I won't run through all of them as that'll kinda get boring, but with the addition of the new Disruptor rounds and Hammer Point rounds hop-ups, some of the shitty guns from before have actual mid to late game uses. The RE45 and Alternator with Disruptor rounds are legitimately late game weapons now, as they rip through shields with the bonus damage from the Disruptor rounds. I do not find the Mozambique and P2020 as useful with their Hammer Point rounds, as those guns sucked more originally, and breaking through late game shields to get to the bonus HP damage can be a bit difficult. They work a lot better early and mid game if you're able to find them with the hop-up. Along with new hop-ups, they also added in the energy mag attachments, which has helped out the Havoc and Devotion mostly, but does technically help the triple takeout also. Another pretty decent change is the Wingman continues to get nerfed, this time indirectly as the Skull Piercer is now a legendary pop-up, making it much harder to find during games. Don't worry though, I'm still going to touch on the new gun and character, although I have much more to say on Wattson than I do the L-Star, so let's just get the L-Star out of the way. I have probably put upwards of 15 plus hours into this season so far, which I know isn't a ton, and I am pretty crap so I often die at the start of the game. So better players probably have more opportunities to find the L-Star, but I have seen the gun literally maybe 3 times, due to the fact that you have to get it out of the airdrops. If you are able to get your hands on it though, it rips through people, so I do recommend using it any chance you get. Season 2 also rotates the golden guns that you can find, but similar to the L-Star, I suck, so I haven't really had the opportunity to find any of those. But I imagine they're all pretty good like they were before. Okay, now let's talk about Wattson. So if you're not aware of Wattson's abilities, she can create electric fences that damage and slow enemies, and her ult is a pylon that repairs damaged shields and destroys incoming ordnance like arc stars. You can place 3 of these on the map at once, so if you're able to combo it with her passive, it allows you to fully charge her ult with an ultimate accelerant. You can get some pretty nasty shield regen. Let's be real though, this is about as situational gets, as it would include you being in a spot where you can drop down 3 of them without dying and also having multiple ultimate accelerants on you at once. Overall, I find Wattson just a poor man's Caustic, and I don't even really think he's that amazing. Although the damage reduction for him in Gibraltar this season definitely helps him out. From what I can tell, she's a mix of an area denial character and a support character with her ult, although she for some reason is classified as a tank in the selection screen. So far this season, I have put a ton of time into Wattson to try and formulate my opinion on her, and I just find her fence ability pretty lackluster. It is sort of clunky to set up, and so obvious it's almost impossible to run into unless you're blind, or literally have no other choice. For example, the only time I've even been damaged by it this season is when I purposely ran into it to see how much they hurt, and spoiler, it's not very much. They are also extremely easy to destroy in most scenarios, and pretty much only useful if someone's chasing you and you can set them up behind you. Like I mentioned earlier, Caustic just does aerial denial better, and I 100% stand by that. You can hide his cast canisters better, they do more damage, and they can be used to block doors, all of which Wattson's fences don't really do. She also doesn't have the HP damage reduction that the big characters have. She is just in the middle with neither reduction or amplification of damage. Which, I mean that's fine, but it just adds to her kinda being lackluster. I also find her ult pretty lackluster. If you combo off multiple at once, you can get some pretty good regen going, but just one by itself, which I find is generally the case, does not heal you a ton. And unlike Lifeline's Q, where you can just smack Q and throw it out when you hit your ult button, you have to find a clear spot on the ground to place her pylon, which can be extremely clunky during gunfights. All this combined just leads to me feeling Wattson is pretty average, if not outright bad compared to other options. Caustic does aerial denial better, and Lifeline does support healing way better. Besides Caustic, like I mentioned, Season 2 also did balance changes on most of the characters in some way, shape, or form, but rather than run through all of them, I'll just say go look them up for yourself. For the most part, they seem pretty negligible. Some changes are definitely felt, but it doesn't seem like any of the buffs have broken characters or the nerfs have made characters useless. Season 2 has also changed up some of the ring damage and the time to close of the ring, as it basically just amplifies as the game goes on. These changes seem pretty good, as you can no longer just chill outside the circle for very long, once you get to further stages of the game like you could before and just cheese wins. I will note, Apex Elite sorta already had changes similar to this, so I imagine they were just using that to test them out. Overall, Apex Legends Season 2 is solid. The new gun and character are fun, and decent additions to the game, along with the map changes attempt to keep things fresh. There are tons of cool cosmetics to show off your style too, but at the end of the day, Apex is obviously still a battle royale game, and for whatever reason, I just can't totally get into those. So yeah, that is what I like and dislike about Apex Legends Season 2. If you enjoyed the video, throw a like, comment, and sub to the channel. I also stream Apex and other games semi-regularly, so follow me on Twitch, and I've also created a Discord, so come hang out. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh shit, he's about to fight someone.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
What is this? Oh, get me out of here.
Dude, I don't even know what I just witnessed.